And we're live. Hola Madridistas. After a rough couple of games, in a game that we had to win to secure the top spot in the group, Madridistas all over the world have a reason to celebrate because we have just won a really convincing victory and 5-1 in fact. We didn't manage to keep a clean sheet, but it is a really big victory. So, all right, let's get right into it, folks. And we're back, folks. Javier, we won 5-1 against Celtic, top of the table in La Liga and top of the table in the UCL. What do you feel right now?
Relief, Jacob. I mean, as you said, it was a rough week. You know, I think the game against Leipzig was an indicator of what would happen in this part of the season, and the consequence was the game against Girona. You know, besides all the controversy and all that, it was a very bad game. And today, I think the team and Carlo and everyone said, guys, we need to push a little another gear, you know, and and start the cruise again. You know, unfortunately, is 2 games prior to the end of the first half of the season, but they do what has to be done and top of the Champions League, as you said, and now focus on the last 2 games of La Liga.
Absolutely. Like you said, it was a pretty serious lineup that we saw today, wouldn't you agree? And we could see it on the boys' faces as well. Like they were all serious, switched on in the game. At least for the first half, we did see some mishaps, especially from the defense. Does your mind go to any instance when I mention that?
Not in particular, you know, like I mean, this is uh, this is the kind of games that that they knew what they need to be done. You know, they understand what needs to be done, and I think that the once again the defense was our weakest in today's game, but once again Kroos as a defensive midfield, and it wasn't like a mistake from him. You know, the first couple of actions was, I think, a lot of confidence between Mendy and Militao, and yeah, I think to remember like that, you know, like not an error for Tony, and Tony's played this position very few, and he hasn't committed a mistake. I mean, in a big game, Tony Kroos cannot be a defensive midfield, but in these kind of games, you know, I think it works good.
Absolutely. Like I can't remember an instance where our midfield put any foot wrong. Like they completed all most of their passes. They didn't give the ball away too much. Well, maybe in the second half we did, but that was like again we had a lot of tiring legs and I'm just glad like a lot of the starters got a lot of rest as well in the second half.
Yeah.
But let's get right into the goals. The first penalty that we got, would you say it's a fair one?
Yeah, an accident, an accident for sure, but a penalty. You know, it's an how do you say, like, it's not an error from the defender. It's like just a bounce and happens to be in the area. I mean, it's a penalty, but not an intentional one. So this controversy will last until they say like all the hands in the area are penalties, no matter what. But for me, it was a clear penalty. Not so much the second one. How do you think?
Yeah, the second one, it was really close to the key, the shot, and the defender just didn't have any time to react. But in all fairness to the referee, she probably saw it in slow motion, and the hand was pretty out there in a wrong position. So, which is why she had to give it. But in real time, it just didn't look like a penalty.
Yeah, those kind of handballs that in La Liga or other instance they don't show us the the repetition or didn't go to the bar. You know, that's the kind of handball in from the second one. You know, like I know, or you know, all Madridistas know that we're not like very welcome in the UEFA Champions League or UEFA, but I mean they need to keep their reputation, and that's the reason why they call the bar against or in favor of Real Madrid. You know, the 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 UEFA reputation is bigger than the UEFA dispute against Madrid or against Superliga.
Absolutely, like it was really refreshing to see that the referee performed really well compared to the weekend in La Liga. So yeah, it's just Spanish referees being blind, and
Where does she referee?
I'm
In
not sure.
which country?
I'm not really sure.
We should keep it up and look for her and uh,
Yeah,
ask
recruit
if
her
she
to the Spanish
can
league.
manage in Spain. You know, because I mean, even in the penalty, I as we said, the penalty against us for me is like 50-50, as you said in live, but in repetitions was like, man, Mendy goes really hard, and those kind of fouls or those kind of plays more often than not goes to the attacker, you know. And she
Right.
didn't. I mean, she seems very young, and to to shout out a penalty against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu, it needs to have a lot of personality. You know, I mean, she seems that the future is bright for her, and I'm glad that UEFA starts to give the women their spot in the. You know, they usually go to the lineups, and almost all the UEFA Champions League female are arbitrated by females. But I think this is the step up that we need to improve. And I mean, after this game, I'm sure you will see her in the next rounds, at least one
Absolutely.
game.
Yeah, she had a really good game, and we hope to see her again in the next round. Hopefully, officiating for us as well. And before we head into like Mendy's considered penalty, were you happy with the general attacking play in the half, especially during the first 30 minutes? We had a few chances with Vinicius, so, like especially if you remember Rodrigo's penalty that we got. Vinicius missed an easy chance there, and general play also. What's your general feeling about him? For me, he just didn't have a good first half, man.
I mean, it for me it was a regular, you know, because I mean we are getting start to get used to the this great Vinicius, you know, and when he's not this great Vinicius, we tend to compare with the really bad Vinicius, you know, and the bad Vinicius I think it's long gone, and the not so good Vinicius creates a lot of plays, creates a lot of movement. You know, it's a lot better winger, and as Sunit said so often, we're entitled. And when Vinicius doesn't make a goal or an assist in a game, we're like, oh, this is a bad game from Vinicius. But I think, I mean, today was the first 20, 30 minutes, it was Rodrigo's game, and then it was the team's game, you know, but not in a bad performance of Vinicius. I will say I won't today. I don't think anyone has a bad performance, but I mean I know what you mean. You know, like it wasn't his game. You know.
Absolutely, it was really frustrating to watch because he could have actually gotten a hat trick today if he had buried those chances.
Yeah.
Yeah, still. So you mentioned Rodrigo had a really good half. I feel like Asensio had a part to play in most of the like dangerous chances that we created. Like he was absolutely imperial today. Like he's probably my shout out for man of the match.
I mean, I was as was watched the game, I was thinking like maybe I have to eat my words, you know. But but in terms that he improves his game, you know, it's not like when if Hazard makes me eat my words or something like that. Asensio understands his role now. He finally understands his role in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks. um, and he's not, he seems to be not this player that only goes for screamers and then disappears for a lot of games. I see him a lot of movements, participating, getting involved in defense, in offense, making movements like, you know, like this is the kind of player Asensio needs to be. You know, he's not this electric like Vinicius. He's not the playmaker like Rodrigo. He's a very good winger. Is I will compare him like to Lucas Vasquez, but better. You know, Lucas Vasquez understands his limits, and he knows that he's playing right back uh, in the last couple of seasons. I don't see Asensio playing as left back, but he I think Asensio in this season is gonna be the one that I'm not the face of the team. I'm not the one that make people scream my name, but I'm playmaker. You know, a team maker. You know, and if that's the case, I will eat my words and because this is the kind of player that we need. You know, this is the kind of Asensio that we need, and shout out to him. I agree with you. If Fede wasn't the one that provokes a penalty, then a goal, then an assist, and then a goal, I will put Asensio in the MVP for sure.
Absolutely, like Fede had a really good game as well, especially in the second half. Well, he where he won all the balls and stuff. But before we go into that, like let's discuss the penalty that Mendy conceded. We don't often see Mendy, get beaten like that for pace because he usually has a handle on his man. What happened today?
I think he was, you know, start the movement to go for the whole defense, and the play was. I think there was a, a, a dispute between Alaba and some of the attackers, and then the ball goes to that position. I mean, if if Mendy wasn't during the tackle, I wouldn't see the play plus prosper enough. You know, like to be a this chance that will be a goal. I think he precipitates the tackle, but it was an error for sure. But I think it was a consequence for another player. I'm not sure, but I think it's a consequence, not a clear error of Mendy right before the tackle. The tackle was badly done.
Absolutely. Well, the man did get away from Mendy, and it was a bad tackle. But you could see Mendy trying to convince the referee, "Hey, I got the ball, I got the ball," and still the referee stood firm, and it was the right decision in the end. But like even before that, and especially after that penalty giveaway, Celtic were looking kind of dangerous in certain plays. I believe we had they had 7 shots on target against Kotor. Like the defense was just convinced or try to like do their hardest to not keep a clean sheet, and it was up to Courtois to have a magnificent performance today.
Yeah, and he's starting to get mad. And we saw the against, I would say, against Leipzig, the last Champions game. He starts to get this rumble against his teammates in order to wake up. And I mean, he's absolutely right. Maybe not in terms of the form, but the content is he's right. And I mean, maybe it's. it's the it's time to shake a little of the defense and break this partnership between Militao and Alaba. And maybe we should start uh, Rudiger for sure, but I'm not sure which one of the other I will bench. Which one would you bench first?
First, I would bench
Or
Alba
you
because,
agree with me in terms of Rudiger needs to start?
well, I would say Alaba needs to rest a couple of games because he has kind of been misplacing some of his passes. He hasn't looked that sharp on defense, but I can't say the same about Militao. I mean, he hasn't put wrong in my mind, at least in this game and in the game against Leipzig. He was pretty good, and it was Alaba who had like a kind of shaky game today. Uh, do you feel the same?
Uh, I said it in the beginning of the season when we sold Casemiro. For me, the ideal uh, place for Alaba is not in the center back. You know, for me, it's probably in the center defensive midfield. Like not all the games, but
Hmm.
some games, because I saw him in the last seasons in Bayern. He plays that position. He plays that position for Austria, and he understands that position. I mean, he's not as young as all the other center backs, and he's not this in, impressive player that is Chouameni, but in some games we could easily play with the both of them in the center and play with, I don't know, five attackers. You know, I mean, I think that Alaba is the only player in maybe the our whole squad that has at least three different positions, and he's on at least a seven or eight in each of one of them. And I think the his worst is the center back.
Really? Hmm.
I mean, he's better at left back than he's a center back, and I mean, I think he's better as center defensive midfield. You know, for me, at least.
I would say, yeah, he could be a potential replacement if Cruz is out, if Tchouaméni is out. But in these big games, like you either need a really attacking player like Cruz who can, connect all the dots, or you need Tchouaméni who can defend really well. I feel like Alaba kind of falls in between those two players. Like he does both kind of well, but not as good as Cruz in attack, or not as good in defense as Tchouaméni.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, it's but both of them are tens. I think 10 plus. I think Chouameni as a defender is an 11, and Tony Kroos as an attacker is at 12 in his prime. Like we saw his prime in the last. I think September was one of the best Tony Kroos I ever seen. You know, not in Real Madrid, like ever. I think he's playing so good. I think Fede is in the spotlight because Fede is
Scoring
scoring
screamers.
goals
Yeah.
and making us feel excited. But in terms of what Tony Kroos can do, this is the prime of Tony Kroos. You know, like 90+% passing rate and crosses and assist, and it's like what else we
What?
need.
Yeah, what else is like he has absolutely switched on his defense as well. Like it's really surprising. We've never seen that part of Tony Cruz until now, I feel.
I mean, I think he's uh, so comfortable, you know, with his role. I mean, it's almost like he is the only player in the whole team that hasn't nothing to prove to no one, because he renounced the national team and said like, I'm gonna retire whenever I want in Real Madrid. You know, that keeps a lot of pressure off him. You know, like if if he goes to Carlo and one game he doesn't start, it's like okay, I'm cool. And when I'm start, I'm cool. And when I'm be subbed, I'm cool. And if the player needs me to be a pivot or needs me to be a defensive, I will do anything because I'm very comfortable with my position in the team, you know, and not in the team, in this in institution. You know, I think I think Tony understands his position beyond his place in the pitch. You know, I think Tony is gonna be one of those figures that it goes in the Real Madrid
Hall of Fame. Yeah,
organization
yeah,
beyond the pitch.
yeah. Got it. Yeah, he goes beyond tactics. He just knows where to play. He like you don't need to tell Tony Cruz any instructions. He just knows where to be. You're
Yeah,
right.
I think it's and Carlo feels that, you know, he has this feeling from a lot of players that what tactics do I need to teach, and a 30 almost 33 years old Tony Cross, it's he has nothing more to learn. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he
That
has a
looks
lot to teach, and he's teaching, you know, almost like a Modric kind of playmaker. I said it in other shows that I think those two guys are willing to teach their replacements, and they understand, like, man, if I was, I don't know, 23, maybe I wouldn't teach him you. But I'm
yeah.
33 and 37. Of course, I'm going to teach you all the things that I know because I love this team and I love this game more than I love my ego.
Hmm. Yep, yep. Let's just hope, Camavinga and Valverde can learn all they can because there are talks of Toni Kroos try like thinking about retirement. But let's shelve that dark thought away for a while and get back into the game. I mean, we discussed all the two goals in the first half,
Yeah.
as well as the penalty that we conceded. So let's get right into the second half, where almost immediately we were on the right foot. We made a lot of good attacking plays, and it finally resulted in an Asensio goal. It was an awesome goal, wasn't it? I believe it was Valverde who cut it back, or who was it?
No, was Carvajal.
Yeah, it was Carvajal. And
Carvajal, very good save. And then it's a hard definition, you know, like I saw that in the first bounce because the ball was bouncing, and then only a good player that makes that kind of cross, you know, because it was not that easy, you know. Uh, but yeah, I think in the second half, in the start of the second half, they another time they put this extra gear and say, like, we need to play our game, you know. And I think the first, I don't know, 20 25 minutes of the second half was even better than the first 25 minutes of the first half.
yep, Celtic did have a couple of nervy moments because of our defense or because we misplaced a few passes, but it was like total domination from that point onwards. Especially since the Asensio goal, it actually opened the floodgates. Like we were getting to all the second balls, we were making the right passes. It was fun to watch. And like we even had that instance where Militao and Alaba both were in the offensive box and trying to score a goal. That was really funny to see.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that, you know. For the first time I think this season, the players went to kill, you know. They're they were 3-0, and they said, like, no, we need to get more, we need to get more, we need to get more. And so often we saw, like, no, we're gonna take a chill, we're gonna let the game go through. And I mean, I think it was a moral boost for them, you know, like, we need to score as many goals as we can just to keep up their morality after the last week, you know, after the game against Leipzig, against Girona. They need this. They need to this confident boost to go for the next two games.
Absolutely. Agreed. Valid points. And well, after that, the Vinny goals came soon after that, and it was once again like excellent play from Valverde and Asensio to create the chance. And like Fede does these like really awesome crosses, like it's so weighted perfectly and it hits right in the foot of Vinicius. Like Joe Hart tried to come out and save it, but he just couldn't get into it.
I mean, Jacob, I'm tend to I think this is the kind of players that you need to see him live. You know, I mean, Fede kicks the ball so hard. It's it's almost unperceptible in TV. You know, I mean, when you saw the goal, you go screaming and that, but this was not a shot for a goal. This was a pass, and he hit it so hard that only Bini that plays with him every day and trains with him understand this ball, you know, this cross ball. And I mean, I think this is one of the low key things that only people in the stadium are able to see from Fede. You know, this kind of hardness on the kicking ball that no, I don't remember that much players that had this particular feature. I think Fede is one of the few that comes to my mind. You know, maybe I'm
Um,
sure
Ro
there are others.
yeah, Roberto Carlos is one of the that comes to mind. Like he had an absolute rocket of a
Yeah,
leg.
yeah, he has a cannon,
Yeah,
but he was famous for, you know. I mean, he was probably m- so much harder than Fede to be this like this magnificent feature. But I mean, this feature of Fede, I think it's underappreciated because we tend to praise him for his speed, for his endurance. But I mean, this one, I think, in the recent, I'm trying to remember someone in the recent era that give me the same feeling from any position of any team. You know, I I think this we need. I will try to look from stats
mm.
because they now you know like
They can only, yeah,
uh,
measure the speed of the ball. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I will try to look for someone in comparison because I think it's one of the hardest kickers in this era in with a lot of precision because he once again scores from outside. I mean, I will do this segue from the pass from the goal. I mean,
absolutely.
he's impressive in both of the uh, attacking positions, not positions, the attacking plays that could have done, you know, the goal and an assist. And the defense is this determinant as well. I mean, he's all around the best player for me in the world right now, all around.
Best player in the world. Hmm.
I,
Could
I
be, it
mean,
could be. It is a fair shout
I'm not
because,
saying
like,
he's the Ballon d'Or or anything like it, but if you ask me, the the peak of anyone this season will be probably Haaland in terms of he's
yeah,
an absolute.
in terms of form, yes, Haaland and Valverde are right at the top of it. Like, I actually fear for the defender if they try to, block one of Valverde's shots because it's so powerful. We saw that in maybe one of the La Liga games where the defender was absolutely flattened and had to be helped up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, he's not this physical dominance, you know. It's not like Haaland, like he's like I don't know, almost 2 meters, I think Haaland, and I think Fede is something around 170 something, and
Hmm.
not you know like he's not this big tough guy, but I think he like Asensio, you know they understand their body enough to to kick the ball as hard as anyone, you know, like he almost looked like a punter from you know like American football. You know, they
Hmm.
kick the ball so hard, and they usually are not that big of a guy.
Yeah, it is mostly down to his technique as well. The contact with his foot and the ball is so clean that it almost always like flies like a rocket towards goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is exactly.
Yeah. And after that, yeah, we mentioned the Valverde goal. But before that, we saw that a lot of the starters came off. Benz got on. Ceballos, who was out injured, also came on instead of Modric. And after that, it was the Vallejo sub who replaced Militao. So basically, we were playing with a back four except for Mendy. The rest of them were like completely new players, with Lucas Vasquez also coming in. And like, what do you feel about the changes? Like, at that point, the game was pretty much dead. But like you said, we never stopped looking for goal. We were sinking our teeth into them.
Well, I will probably be hated for this, the first part of my comment, but I will say that today we didn't need Benzema, and I think I think I saw a drop off of the, you know, the game involvement of every attackers when Benzema goes out, because as you said and I said, like in the first half and between Asensio, Rodrigo, and Vini, they they play a lot of movements and understand that we don't have a number nine reference, and we're gonna make this kind of movements to open spaces, and then goes Benzema, and the players know that now is Benzema. Now the movements that we need to create is for him, and it was a lot of I don't know, like bad movements, and well, not bad. I think it was like not the right adjustment. You know, Benzema didn't bring this adjustment, and I think it was the last 20 minutes. That's the only reason I will think that we didn't score any more goals, because we didn't create as many chances as the last 70. And with the refreshment as the substitutes, we with Ceballos and you know, like Nacho and the refreshment, those are the kind of refreshment that uh, we need to keep with the pace. And the changes from Celtic uh, didn't do anything. So I think was the not I'm not saying that Benzema is out of form, but I think the players around him are more used to play without him than with him in this kind of in this stage of the season. You know, I don't know what you think of that.
I feel like that is a bold statement to say, like with just 20 minutes of Karim Benzema, and it was a new look team, right? Basically, we had a lot of starters going off. Modric is so important to play. He went off, and I feel like that contributed to the kind of desync that we had seeing in the later part of the game. But in addition to that, Benzema did create a couple of chances on his own. He always provides that value, just that presence just around the box. He can skip and dance through a couple of defenders, put that ball in. Yeah, he just connects the dot, and I feel like we can't be too harsh on him because it was late in the game. The game was killed, and there were a lot of subs going around, man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be like, if you ask me this nitpicking, you know, I'm not
Hmm.
saying he has a bad game, because as you said, like this play with him, Asensio, and Ceballos almost end of in a Benzema goal. But
Yeah.
I think as the, you know, like the movements of the attacking, it was probably also the substitution of Modric. You know, this our best playmaker. So maybe the best playmaker and also the best attacker need to be to put
Mhm.
together. You know,
Yep.
I understand that it's just like to be this nitpicking, because I think we only saw, like, I don't know, 60% of Benzema this season. You know,
True.
I'm not remember this Benzema in his prime this season. I I think he's the one that almost all news papers and all the media, I'm saying that Benzema is clearly uh, lowering his pace from the World Cup. And I mean, who am I to blame him? You know, it's probably his, for sure, his last World Cup. I think he plays in the 2010 World Cup and was an awful disaster for France. And he deserves his, like, his spot in the team from the 2014 and 2018. But we know what happens. So this is his World Cup, and I mean he's trying to be his best in that, and I'm not blaming him because like uh, someone like Fede has the physicality to be in his prime and then goes to the World Cup. Someone like Modric, I think he said like to Carleto, don't play me as much because I need to be fit for the World Cup. But Vini, Rodrigo, um, Valverde, they are so young, so many. They don't need to be rested. They need to be fit, and we need to understand that the age gap is when someone needs to rest and someone needs to be play all the time to be fit. You know, I think it's only that, and I think we're gonna see a little of Karim against Rayo, and probably not Karim against Cadiz.
I mean, he did get a lot of rest with his injuries. But it is still good to be careful, playing him. Maybe he can, once we score like a couple of goals in the first half, we can finally give him some rest and, maybe give Mariano or Hazard a run out. Because Hazard was missing from the squad, I believe, in this match.
Yeah, he
And
was out, and I think he's out for the rest of the this last two games.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, is something on the line of, man, if you don't gonna put me in the pitch, I'm gonna I'm gonna be focused on the World Cup.
Hmm.
You know, I think uh, the difference between Asensio and Hazard this season is that Hazard was a world class player, and a world class player didn't want to be this kind of
Part-time
number
role.
12, number 14. And Carleto, I mean, probably said to him like, even if you are not on the starting lineup, or you can be one of the substitutes. And I think Hazard said to him like, well, if I'm not gonna be the start, I'm best. I'm not gonna play. So
Hmm.
Carleto was an easy choice. I think he has this conversation with him. I'm only speculating because I'm a huge Hazard fan, but I mean something has to be this like um, a strongly opinion because some a few weeks ago or a month ago, Carleto said Hazard understands his
Hmm.
place in this team,
Yep, yep.
and we didn't see him. I mean, I think it was the first game against Shakhtar. I think that means he's gonna play, and he
True.
didn't even. I think he didn't goes to the warm up, and I was like, okay, his place in this team is you're out. You're basically out. You know, against Girona this weekend, Carleto goes for Mariano, and Hazard didn't even warm up. So I think the place of Hazard is like you need to be good in the World Cup, and maybe someone asks for you in the winter window,
Hmm.
and hopefully you're out because you're not gonna play for me anymore. I think it's
I mean,
Carleto could be ruthless. I mean, we see him as this
nice
warm
guy.
and
Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's also a really good manager. And a really good manager, um, I think he's the one that could go either way. It needs to go either way with all the players. Like maybe he has the same conversation with Asensio, and Asensio was like, I'm gonna do whatever it needs to be done to be eligible. and maybe Hazard said like, no man, or either I'm a star or I'm not.
Yeah,
And
uh, fair
I think
points.
this was the conversation. Once again, I'm only speculating, but I'm sad because I really wanted to see Hazard's success because I really like him as a player, and I tend to remember him like what if the biggest what if in the recent memory.
Hmm. Well, it could like I just hope that Hazard isn't injured again, and that was why he was out of the squad because I hope that he has a very good World Cup, but as for his Real Madrid career, like I said, like just want to wave bye bye to him as soon as possible. But we do have Tas Aliba who in the comment section saying, well, he says a lot of comments, but first he says, that is why we suffer every year. We believe we can win every game, even though it is a good mentality sometimes. Maybe it's not good for a league. And then he goes on to saying, he says, like, Jacob, I know you're looking, I saw you, the answer to my comment first. Yeah, we hear you, Tas Aliba, we hear you. And he also mentions that Hazard is one player who won't make any noise. Like whatever you say to him, he'll just keep quiet and does his job in training. Because in training he has looked happy and and involved with his teammates. We don't see any sort of ego with him, and I totally agree with that. But we don't know what goes on in the conversation between Carlo and Hazard. That's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, I
And
mean it's not the same that you're as a persona and you're as a player. I mean, I absolutely agree. I think this he's a nice guy. You know, Hazard is a nice guy and doesn't have this ego. Uh, but he has this ego. You know, like
mm,
I'm gonna say this to you as a chill and trying to be polite, but my statement is focused, like something in the lines of probably cross. You know, like I'm not this force and this strong personality, but I mean what I said.
mm.
You know,
Yeah, fair
like
point. Like he was one of the best. Like you will have that weighing down on you, that sadness. But moving on, I mean, I think we covered most parts of the game. We covered the goals, the subs, and yeah, we're pretty happy with the result. We topped the group. But now, since it's almost the end of this group stage for this year, let's look at some big teams who went out. So I'll just list them for you. Barca, Atleti, Juve, Sevilla, Marseille, and Ajax are all out. Any big surprises there for you, Javier?
surprise, yeah. Barcelona was is a surprise. You know, I mean, um, it's something that I wish for it in my, uh, my craziest dreams. I wished for this. I'm not the kind of Madrid fan that wants a tough Barcelona. For me, if they could descend to the second league, it will be better for me. But surprise, yeah. In terms of going out to Europa League, probably Barca. In terms of last season compared to this season, I think Ajax. Ajax is a huge disappointment. I saw the two games against Napoli, and they were like completely destroyed for a team that, I mean, Napoli is now great, but if you ask anyone who will top that group, no one will say Napoli. Probably almost all of us will say Liverpool, and probably then again Ajax or Napoli. But I mean, that's my top two. And if I have to say, like, Atletico doesn't surprise me. Atletico, I said it in every forum that I have. Like, I only can wish that they give like Simeone this permanent deal. You know, like the owners of the Atletico, the president of Athletic goes to the for saying, like, you know, from now on, Diego Simeone is gonna be our manager until he wants to. No more questions asked, and that will be I'm gonna be happy because I think Atletico has a very good team. I think Atletico has a very good players, but they don't have a manager. And this is the kind of like squads that you saw when an easy fix for Atletico is have a good manager and have a good manager. Like maybe if they sack like yesterday at Simeone, and today they will point someone like I don't know, like Tuchel. I would say like, man, this Atletico will be a contender. Again a contender, but they are out of the Europa League, well, any European competition, and they're like I don't know, like sixth place in La Liga,
Six to
and
seven, yeah.
they're like, we're completely okay with this, completely okay with this, and I'm like, if you can imagine if something in that, not for Madrid. I mean, we are so much.
We have higher standards.
Yeah, yeah, but someone in the lines of I don't know, like something in. I would say Tottenham. Tottenham would absolutely sack Conte if didn't go to the group stages for sure. And it's Tottenham.
Hmm.
They didn't win like any single trophy in the last a million years, and they are so much, like strongly for their managers. You saw Leipzig. Leipzig lose a couple of games in the Champions League and a couple of bad games in Bundesliga, and they're like, "No, man, you're out." And that manager change was the only reason that we saw Leipzig goes to the group stages.
True.
And maybe I don't know
Um,
what's your top three from the disappointments.
well, just speaking about the Atletico situation, I feel like Simeone can't take all the blame because if you look at his goals conceded, especially in the UCL, you see that the defense they clearly make like stupid mistakes. You see Savage make mistakes. You see like veteran players like really lose the ball or pass it straight to the opposition. So the blame can't be completely on Simeone, but he hasn't helped this team that much this season. That much I would say. But it is just a really bad run of form for Atletico. Let's just hope they come out of it just for the sake of having a really competitive league in La Liga. But other than that, the teams who went out, yeah, well, they have been shit in the league. So no surprises there. Sevilla going out early was a bit of a pain, but they are transitioning over to a new manager, and by the time they sat Lopetegui, it was too late. So maybe they should have pulled a Leipzig and sacked Lopetegui much faster.
But I think Sevilla knows that if they go through the group stages in the Champions League,
Success.
it's a success. But when they draw against City and Dortmund, they're like, we're out,
Hmm.
we're absolutely out, but not in the form. Like they will completely disgrace. I think they didn't expect that performance, but I think they expect that result. You know, not
So,
Juve is a huge disappointment. I mean, it was in the group with Benfica,
yep.
manageable. I think we all knew that PSG is gonna be
Winners.
probably. I'm not sure in this moment who is topping that group. I mean, would be the perfect segue if you ask me the toughest rivals for us
Ah,
potentially. I think in this moment I will say Liverpool, but if anything goes wrong and PSG ends up in second place, for sure it's gonna be PSG the one that we need to avoid.
hmm.
But we you remember the last time that we are first of groups and PSG and second last
Yeah.
year.
It is possible, I mean, but with Lionel Messi in top form, even Neymar has like really found his feet. I don't see them losing against Benfica. So let's just assume for now that PSG is not one of the opponents. I'll just list out our potential opponents for the round of 16. It's going to be Liverpool, Club Brugge, Inter Milan, Frankfurt. It's either going to be Milan or Salzburg, depending on how that game goes to. Like I'm just really hopeful, like we get Milan goes through and wins the game because I really want to see that matchup, the European heavyweights going against each other. And the other opponents are Dortmund and either PSG or Benfica. Yeah,
I mean, uh, we almost played with all those giants in the past years. You know, we we are in the same group as Inter in the last two
2 years.
Champions League. Yeah, we almost every year uh, we played against Dortmund. Like I think 3 years in a row. And who else? Well, Liverpool, right? The last final.
True.
I'm remembering. I'm not remember the last time we played against Milan because Milan was out for a very long time. I I, I will wish that matchup, but not in the next round. I will wish for a kinder matchup
Okay.
for Milan. You know, like maybe Milan against I don't know someone.
Frankfurt or Club Brugge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, some easy
Mm.
group, and then goes because I I I like Milan for the term of uh, being bigger than Barca. You know, like this kind of giants, the true giants,
The
as you say,
true, the OGs. Yeah.
the OGs. You know, like and then the one that didn't want because for my personal enjoyment, I didn't want to go against Borussia.
Mm.
I only wish that we play Borussia in the final and will be a tight game, and then Vini will score again because I think I love Borussia, but not as much as I love Madrid. So I only wish that this
Mm.
matchup didn't go through, and
No.
they're tying with Copenhagen, so it's not looking bright for us at this moment.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm. Well,
So if you have to choose one, Jacob,
if you
like
look at the Real Madrid Twitter, all of them are asking for, PSG to lose this game against Benfica, get second, and, face us for the round of 16 because we just want to show Mbappe, like, the man, this is what you left. Like,
I mean, I for one, I think it will be a great matchup. But if you ask me, I will. I said it in the few games. Like, and we only say that because of the past Champions League. You know, like against PSG, we're like, oh man, come on, this is unfair. This is bullshit, and it was. Against Chelsea, was like they are the current champions. This is gonna be hard.
mm,
And against City, and we go through all these games, but nothing says to us that that is going to happen again and again and again. So if you ask me, yeah, I would love to play against PSG, but not in the round of the
16,
eight.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I think probably in the semi-final or even in the final. You know, like will be more of a
Switch
show. Like,
down. Yeah.
yeah, no, once again, or maybe I would love to go to not to go to watch the final and saw Messi, Mbappe, Ramos, Neymar, watching Benzema lifting up the Champions League. You know, if you ask me in this, you know, like saltiness and like a bitter Real Madrid fan, I would love to do that and not in the round of 16. You know, like in the round of
Mm.
16, we need to go an easy matchup, and then in the round of eight, an easy matchup, and then like there will be no more easy matchups. Yeah, I think in the semifinals and there's no easy one. There will be, I think, uh, now I will think maybe agree with me. Maybe Frankfurt will be the best or easiest matchup that we can have because they're not playing good. They're only managed to go to the next round in the I don't know if you saw the. This is. I think it was a table from this. Let me just look for it
Okay.
in
Yeah, while you
in
look at
Instagram.
that,
I saw,
yeah, while you
in
look that
Instagram,
up,
I saw
okay.
this. I don't know this image that that group how it goes from minute to minute, and I think Frankfurt was out for a very large part of it.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
let
they
me.
just managed to sneak it in.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is, okay, Ashish, hi again for visiting us in the comments. He says, let's hope for Liverpool on the round of 16 and put them out of their misery. So yeah, like this is the sentiment that a lot of Real Madrid fans share. We get cocky and we say we can face anyone and we can beat them. But like Javier said, like my heart can't handle like one more season like last season. So let's just get an easier fixture this time, all right? So the easy ones would be Club Brugge, Frankfurt, maybe even Benfica if they become second.
No, Club Rouge is first.
Oh, Club Brugge is first.
I
Okay.
think. I think so. I think Rouge.
No, no. Porto became first since they won against Atletico. So it's
Okay.
Porto leading that group and Club Brugge is second.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was wrong because I think it was all the other way around.
Mm.
So now in this moment, Juventus and Paris are tying, and also Benfica and Maccabi. So it's PSG tough group, right?
Probably. Yeah. That's how it looks like.
I mean, I understand this sentiment of arrogance, and I share with all our viewers. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to be that we have this same Champions League as the last one, but I think I said it to Sonny. The thing that makes the last Champions League so special because it happens once in a million,
Mm.
and even though I think the Real Madrid is the only thing with the potential to do it again, I'm not wishing, I'm not betting our luck to that, because it's unsustainable. I mean, it's not gonna happen every single year. For me, I will say, chill, chill, fans, and wait for an easy tide. Like I'm not gonna agree with the how do you say like this the matchups will be in this Monday,
Mm.
and then we go to play until February. I mean, I will only wish like no rest, and then we do the matches in January or even in February. Like because this is it was like almost 4 months
Mm.
for the next game, and I think it's unnecessary. It's a lot of
True.
like in terms of the teams, I think they benefit the teams, because they knew who will need to watch out or need to be beware of, like, oh, maybe if we knew that we play against, I don't know, like Salzburg, we're gonna watch and be able to spy on everyone. But if you didn't know, like, this is the round of 16. All of these, there are potential players, the teams against. Maybe for me, will be a lot of fairness to the competition, not knowing with 4 months in advance who will you gonna play against.
Mm. Fair point. That will build anticipation, but people might just forget about what happened at the group stage at that point. Like I feel like that could be the reason like we could have the draw like on Monday itself. So
And
anyways,
also
mm,
probably, like the matchup will be something in the line like it doesn't matter because it's 4 months from now. In this moment, Real Madrid is top of league, top of everything, and maybe in 4 months, like were better or maybe worse, and it doesn't matter because we're probably gonna sell Hazard and I don't know bring someone with the World Cup. I thought I think I saw something in the lines that they're asking for Song from Tottenham, and I was
Hmm.
like, come on, man, you're playing like FIFA, give away Hazard and bring Song. It was an easy choice for me, but something like that. I mean, I don't like
Doesn't
this.
hmm. Unless like a son really really wants to come to Real Madrid, like I don't see it
Who
happening.
wasn't wants to come to Real Madrid? If you ask anyone, even someone that plays for Tottenham, that you're not gonna win anything here, and goes to the team that wants almost everything, it's an easy choice, And you remember the last guys that came from Tottenham to Madrid, like if they ask them, hey, how things go, one wants the Ballon d'Or and five champions, and the other one was one of the best wingers in the world and also won four champions.
True that.
I mean,
Well,
bringing someone from Tottenham always has been good for us.
true man. But do you think like we should have pulled the plug on like we should have tried to get Kane at some point because like I feel like we went after him when Cristiano left, and but it's been a good decision not pulling that transfer through because Benzema has been really stepping up, and Fiorentino is right always, no matter what happens in the end.
I don't know. I think there's gonna be only one way that we buy someone in the winter, and it's like this World Cup star that doesn't have a long-term deal with any club. Like
Mm,
someone from I don't know, maybe an European, like nation or someone in South America that doesn't have this spotlight because almost all the stars has long-term deals. Like you're not gonna bring. I think uh, I I said it and said it again. I think Jude Bellingham is gonna play for Madrid, but you're not gonna buy him in the winter. You know,
true.
they're
Yeah,
asking price like 150 million, and I mean like he's. If you ask me, I think he's gonna be the best player for England in this World Cup. But someone in the lines of I don't know, not the contenders from the World Cup, but someone in the group stage that outperform or someone in, I don't know, like a very good right back. That's because we need a substitute for Carvajal and maybe someone like that because Sonny said it in the chat and Florentino and Real Madrid are not like used to buy in the winter, but Florentino and Real Madrid are used to buy in the start of the World Cup, you know. And this is the only time that we're gonna see this collide, the World Cup and the winter break at the same
mm.
time. So maybe that, but I'm not sure.
Fair point. Like this is a special World Cup with a special transfer window. We could see crazy things happen. But yeah, I would say we covered most of the UCL stuff as well. So
Only
any closing
yeah,
thoughts before we go?
just shout. I forgot, but shout out to Jota. That was an impressive goal.
Oh,
Uh, I mean, he seems so emotional, and I think the crowd applauded to him. Like it was a really nice gesture,
it was
and that's a
wholesome.
very good goal. Like you said, like for the life of God, we cannot keep a clean sheet, but this is the kind of goals that, like like wow, if this wasn't a mistake. I mean, if I once again go nitpicking, I think Nacho could jump a little higher, but I mean, beautiful goal and shout out to Celtic and all the Scottish fans that I knew that they bring this this excitement from the
Yeah,
groups and wish them well in the next Champions League.
absolutely. But that goal did sting because one, it was wholesome because of the Celtic player, like it meant a lot to him. But just seeing Courtois' face, like he worked so hard, man, like today to keep a clean sheet, but it was just never meant to be. Uh, well, yeah, I guess I'll head to the housekeeping work then. Like, give a shout out to all the Real Madrid fans who are watching. Make sure if you're watching, give us a subscribe or a like. That really helps us with the algorithm and stuff. And check out our Instagram and our Twitter for the latest news and updates, maybe match day tweets. You should also check out the Real Madrid committee Instagram because they are a really good Real Madrid fan page with a lot of great content and a lot of nice art. So yeah, that's about wraps it. Hala Madrid, Javier.
A la Madrid, Jacob.
Yeah, see you guys. Okay.